Good morning.
Good
I'm
morning.
going to turn off my Discord notifications because otherwise we are going to get inundated. Hold on 2 seconds. Let's see. Let me set myself to D&D. There we go. All right. Happy Q&A, friends. Excited to see you guys here. We have some pretty good questions today. I mean, we always have good questions. I feel like every week consistently we have questions that are all over the board, like subject wise and level of experience wise. And I love that because we get to be well rounded. And you guys keep me on my toes, which is always good too. Love that. All right, so first question kicking it off today is a funny question for one of our mods at Haven. Do all spell incantations have to rhyme, or is that Shakespeare's fault? I love this. So we've all heard like, you know, uh I mean, the stereotypical rhymes, right? One of my favorite legitimate incantations that I've used, that's why I use the word legitimate, because I've actually used this in spell work, is thieves stay away. This car belongs to me. It's protected by the goddess, so mote it be. Very simple, easy to remember. I used it a bunch last year, 2 years ago when my husband's car was getting broken into all the time. Sometimes they're easier to remember if they rhyme, right? Are incantations required to rhyme? No. No, of course not. That's more Hollywood and poetry tradition than like magical necessity, right? Um, is it fun? Yes. Is there brain science behind rhyming helping to cement things into memory? For sure. But that doesn't mean that if there's an incantation that doesn't rhyme, that it's any less effective or valuable or something like that. So what matters really the most is intention. You're somebody who's a council grad, you're in semester, you know this, but what matters the most is intention. What matters the most is the clear, well-regulated, grounded, directed energy that you are focusing into that incantation, right? I've told you guys before, sometimes the entire spell is just yelling a word, right? Sometimes the entire spell is a deep breath, right? It's the intention that matters. So rhyming can help, yes. But the most effective spells use really clear, direct language, right? Just like you're communicating with a human, right? Your partner, your kid, when you are needing to explain something clearly, you say it in as few words as possible. And we call it 2-year-old clear in my house. Could a 2-year-old understand it? 2-year-old clear. So not, hey, the other day I saw this person and they reminded me that this, and then I wondered about this. And do you remember that? Dinner Friday, 7 o'clock, you're going. We want the basics. So when this comes to spell work and incantation, I banish this energy. Only peace may enter. Bring me abundance, right? We can get into our spell plan and include other things and vision and all the other pieces where we call in all the details of what we want from that spell. But as far as incantation, it can be really simple. Don't fall into the trap that is liturgy and think that because you don't have the perfect words, your spell didn't manifest, because it's not legit. There's a space for liturgy. A lot of traditions practice with a lot of liturgical call and response, especially if you're Wiccan. There's lots of like formal, very liturgical sort of practice. There's space for that too. That's not how we do things at Haven because that's not who I am. And I would feel disingenuous being that way and leading that way. But it's important, to know that some traditions really put an emphasis on that. Do I think it matters? No, absolutely not. I've had spells that are just as effective with one word, as some of the more flowery floral ones that I've done in like love spells or whatever. The intention is what matters the most. Do you want to dress it up? Great, but at least make sure it's clear. If you have a ton of words, make sure it's clear. Good question. The next question is about breaking a vow, a deity vow. Where did my Discord go? Here we go. Vow breaking spell with a deity. Is there any way to break a vow that is supposed to be lifelong to a deity? Specifically, I was raised Catholic and received confirmation before I was out of high school could make really an informed decision. Yeah. Essentially, it's a vow of loyalty to the Catholic faith, church, God, practice, and mythology. As I go further down my path of decolonization, while I still respect some beliefs of the faith, I do not want this tie anymore. I fear that it will get in the way of branching out to receiving and working with other deities. Can I get out of this religious contract without energetic backlash or godly smite? Such a good question. Such a good question. Okay, so for context, this person is somebody who's in semester, and so they're actively learning at Haven. This is absolutely possible to break a vow. Absolutely, and I don't care who the deity is. Like we can take the Catholic piece out of it, right? I love Catholics. Catholics are my best clients, you guys. Like my private one-on-one clients, Catholics, I love y'all because Catholics understand that witches don't worship Satan, right? Catholics understand demons and exorcism and baneful magic. Catholics understand a lot more than maybe mainstream people think about witchcraft, right? So shout out to my Catholic friends. My husband was raised Catholic. My dad was raised Catholic. I I love quoting scripture, like biblical scripture, while we do baneful work. We incorporate a lot of that. So hear me say this, that it doesn't matter what deity or what faith. And so I'm not answering this because I'm demonizing Catholic theology. We love Catholics. There's no problem with Catholic theology. I I am going to challenge you, knowing who this person is, to take that lens off of it because it only gives you're only giving it more of a hold on you when you attribute the religious stuff to it. Even if we don't look at the piece of it that's necessarily specifically Catholic, you're tied to something that you don't want to be tied to anymore, right? And yes, there's a whole bunch of religious dogma that goes with that, but at its core, you are tied to something that you don't want to be tied to anymore. Can you get out of it knowing that it's significant and that you vowed, right? Yeah, for sure. You're not going to be struck by lightning. Um, One thing that I would do is a release and reclamation ritual. I just talked someone else through this the other day. When you are, let's zoom out for a second. When you are making this vow, your vow, like you said, is a vow of loyalty, right? Loyalty means you make a choice continuously to do life around this thing, with this thing. It's important to you. You care about it, you value it, right? Loyal. You choose that. What happens when you don't want to choose that? What you do is you create a pattern. If you just override yourself and you keep choosing it even though you don't want to, out of obligation, obligation's a really dirty word. It is. You're doing it out of guilt then, right? Or are you doing it out of pressure? Are you doing it out of fear? What if we could shift the motivation to doing it out of joy? I only want to read scripture when I do it with a full fuck yes in my body for it, right? So I used to be a Christian. I have biblical tattoos, y'all, okay? I I don't feel like that part of my journey makes me any less a witch. I don't feel like that letting go of that has made me more affected by harm or less protected. I don't feel like there was any like retribution because it's about release and reclaiming. I made a commitment of loyalty to a certain person, ascended master, whatever. You guys know I work with Hecate now. Same thing is true when I choose not to work with her. You can be grateful for the memories, grateful for the experience. Like you said, still see some of their teaching as valid. And the vow that you made is not valid anymore because your vow was for loyalty. And loyalty means you're making an active, conscious choice to choose that over and over and over again. And you would be dishonest if you stayed in a space of loyalty, right? So instead of making this a punishment piece because you want to change that loyalty, make it a reclamation piece. They're not going to punish you. God's not going to punish you. The universe isn't going to punish you. I would know, right? Like, you're not going to get punished for this. You are reclaiming yourself, right? You're reclaiming your energy. You're saying, I choose to not do that. Because the alternative is that you forsake your inner knowing over and over and over and over and over again. And then you build resentment against yourself. You don't build resentment against the Catholic Church. You build resentment against yourself. Because why did I commit to something that I did not want to be in and I just fucking stuck it out in the name of obligation? That's a dirty word. So honor what served you from the tradition while releasing what doesn't fit anymore. Do a release and reclamation. So same as we do with cleanse and then protect, release and then reclaim. I release myself from this vow. I release myself. If you want to go through like the actual, I'm not familiar with confirmation. I didn't grow up Catholic, so I know that there's particular structure to a confirmation. But I don't know what that is. So if you want to go through that structure of confirmation and almost like opposite it, you can do that. And literally one for one, if you want to make sure that you get the same things. If it's really more about the symbolic and the energy and not necessarily about like spell work against the vow, but it's just about I'm choosing not this and I want to mark that moment in time and give myself a line that says I'm choosing not this, then I think that's important. And I think you don't have to know exactly what you said. You don't have to know the exact kind of step by step, but just give yourself the release from that. I release myself from blank, make a list. I release myself from whatever, fill in the blank. You might even automatic write and know that it just like watch it just kind of fill out the page. And then I would do reclamation, right? What are you now going to do with the parts of you that were devoted to that vow? Because even though you haven't been practicing, like let's say you haven't been a practicing Catholic for 10 years, that's a lot of time, right? There's still a part of you that's holding the energy of that vow because you hadn't released it, right? Just like there's still parts of us that hold our exes that we haven't released. There's still part of us that hold things that we have not processed because we're human beings. That's how it works. So, what are you going to do with the parts of you that were holding that energy? What are you going to do with the pieces of you that were holding space for that vow that now can be allocated to other things? Are you going to shift those? Because reclamation doesn't only look like taking back, it looks like integrating, right? If we just, I call this back, I call this back, that's the same as cleansing without protecting. It's the same as pulling your energy back, but not giving it a job. You can pull it back and be continuously reminded of your completeness. You can pull it back and have it bring you a different experience. You can pull it back and have the lessons integrate, whatever. But there are parts of you that have been holding on to that vow, even if you haven't been practicing. So the release and the reclamation is important because you need to know what you're walking away from and know what you are walking toward. Equally important. And the person that asked this hasn't gone through Spellwork Foundations until 2 days from now. So remind me when you watch this replay, remind me on Friday as we walk through what we're going to walk through. I will bring this specific situation back up and give you a different way of thinking about this so it can connect another way. Remind me about that and we'll do it. Okay. Thank you for that question. Another thing to note here, a lot of practitioners work with a lot of different pantheons. Like I have worked with a lot of different goddesses and deities. You have to be careful that you're not working with ones that compete at the same time. If you're going to work with multiple, make sure that they work together well. I usually say work with one at a time. And this is a significant thing. I think you obviously, the person that asked this, knows how significant this is. It's okay to work with multiple deities. It's okay to work with multiple pantheons. We obviously want to be respectful, right? We have our 3 R's: respect, reciprocity, relationship. When we are looking at syncretic practices, when we're looking at other things that are available to us as far as deities, pantheons, cultures, but don't make yourself wrong for wanting to explore. Don't make yourself wrong for wanting to revoke lovingly that energy and say like, I'm not holding space for me to hold that vow anymore. I'm reclaiming those pieces of me so that we can do what's next. Okay. Love that. Next question. Where is my Discord? Hiding behind Zoom. Let's see. Dream of my mom. My mom passed away 2.5 years ago. I've been Having a recurring dream for the last 9 months, I can only remember where I am reaching out to her and she's reaching out to me like an extended arm and each of us trying to grab hands. Oh, I love that. But I keep waking up yelling, open the door. You have to go through the door. My husband has repeatedly heard me yelling this in my sleep as well. What might this mean? I have been asking Spirit to help her contact me. Okay, so this comes from one of um our mods and a council grad and a semester student. So we've got a lot of context to work with here, girlie. I will I will say this in a way that everybody can relate to. And if we need to dive deeper in the comments after this, because there's some information I am going to need that I don't think I have, um, we can do that, just to preface. So my mediumship skills are itching as I read this message. I can feel her ladybugs. I can feel like you and I have talked about her, and I can feel her because we've talked about her and I know her energy. I don't remember or no, I don't know if I don't remember, if I don't know. I don't know if we talked about the specifics of how she passed. Um, but what I get here from like a felt intuitive sense, from a sensory, like somatic sense, my body feels this, and also I can see what you're talking about. It feels like there's some sort of unresolved grief that you, human, that my student that asked this question, have about the way that mom passed. Not that she passed. I'm not talking about like I miss her and I wish she was here and I want to pick up the phone. Like I all of that is normal grief when we lose somebody, when we're experiencing loss. But I'm talking about the specific way that she passed because it was like within 72 hours of her passing, there was something where I don't know that it was a tug of war. Like I don't want you to think conflict, but it was like liminal space. Like she was kind of here and kind of not, and kind of here and kind of not. Sometimes that happens with people as they pass. They will ascend, but not all the way. They will come back into their body, or they will ascend and all the way out and then come back. That happens with near-death experiences. Today is actually the 4-year anniversary of my uh passing in a car accident. So this is funny that we're bringing this up right now. When you die, you leave your body and you come back into your body. If you are directed to, if you choose to, if you can, if you want, there's a whole bunch of caveats there. But as you are in the dying process, you don't have to stay in your body. And you don't have to stay in your body all the way. Sometimes it's a gradual process where the human self separates from the soul self. Sometimes it's I'm going to separate and come back and separate and come back. And sometimes it's just I'm I'm peacing out, right? For people that have, situations where they're just here one moment and they're gone the next, it's literally as quick as a blink. I've lived it. I can tell you, it's as quick as a blink. It is the most peaceful I have ever felt in my entire life. So I want to tell you that because I feel like on your side specifically, there's okay. Yeah, this person says I felt her dying. So could you feel her like in and out, sort of like in her body and not in her body, or maybe like there and not there? Okay, yeah, they say yes. Okay, so yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That was probably hard. Like, I'm a daughter. It's hard to see your mom that way, right? It's hard to see your your person on a journey that you know is transitioning and it's going to a place you can't go yet, right? That's hard. There's grief there. And so we can name that, but also I want you to know that mom doesn't feel any of that. Like your mom is coming to say hi to you because she wants to say hi to you, right? And your body's reacting because you're like, oh my God, I know her energy. The last time I saw her, I was like, oh my God, mom, you gotta go. Like you're on this journey and it's okay that you need to go. And like, but the back and forth, I don't want to watch you do the back and forth, right? The back and forth is hard for me. Go, like, I've accepted this. Go do your thing, right? Like you're in that space. You're still encouraging her. And she's like, baby, I I did. I came to visit. Like I came to see you. Like I did come through the door. I came here, right? She's not upset about this. She is not, I don't feel any resentment, any guilt from her side. I don't feel any like any anything other than like joy and happiness and excitement. And she's a freaking pistol. Like she is a spicy, she is a she's a pepper. Y'all know in Haven I like respond with the chili pepper when someone's spicy, right? Like she is spicy. She would get along with us. She's epic. I love her energy. Yeah, she was ready. Yeah, she's at peace with that. So I think we've got a few things here. She is connecting with you. Number one, you needed confirmation. Yes, it's her. If you needed confirmation, it's her. Number two, she doesn't have any sort of animosity or resentment around her passing, the way that she passed, like the way meaning the method of her passing, the timing of her passing. I think she's not upset with it. She had different ideas of how that was going to go. Even though like she knew the decline was coming, it didn't happen the way that she thought that it was going to happen, but she's not upset about it. Um, she's trying to connect with you. And so when you're reaching out, your body is doing something automatic because I know you and because we've been talking about your dreams lately. When you come out of your dream, you can remind yourself, "Oh, I saw her. She came to visit." Even if that's all you say to yourself, "I saw mom. She came to visit. Mom came to visit." You will start to train your thoughts so that, yeah, that makes sense. There was family drama when she passed. Yeah. She did not want the drama. She gets it. There's no like, she's not resentful. It had to happen that way, but like, I get it. Um, so yeah, even if you can wake up out of your dream and say like mom visited or I saw mom or mom came to talk, it'll help your thoughts start to be in that place automatically where in that dream you won't have that same reaction. There's a part of you now that knows she's at rest. She's happy, meaning her soul is peaceful. She came to see you. She wants to check in on you, right? You've been like, "Hey mom, 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 hey mom, mom." And she's like, "Okay, baby, what?" Right? She's there. So you asked for her and she showed up, and then makes sense. You were like, "Oh my God, you gotta go. Like, what are you doing here?" Right? It's okay. Practice acknowledging without giving yourself any sort of expectation after that. Just work on acknowledgement. Your brain will start to change it automatically, and you'll notice that those reactions decrease in intensity and then they stop. And then they will start up like a conversation, or you'll get to pass symbols back and forth, or maybe you'll hear her um all of that. It'll develop, but we got to kind of come down from the body piece of this, your physical piece of this that's holding on to that, so that your light can meet mom's light and have a conversation. Let me know if that makes sense since you're in my comments. Okay. Good question. You're welcome. You're welcome. Does she have like is there a significant day coming up? Does she have like a birthday coming up, or is there an anniversary coming up or something? She's like talking about a party. I see like party hats. Kids celebration? Is there a kid's birthday? Grandbaby birthday? I don't know. She's talking about some sort of, she's gonna go to a party that you're at. And I see like party hats, like the emoji party hat, wedding anniversary. Okay, yeah. Yeah. There's some sort of like significant thing she's letting you know. She's aware of that. She thinks I don't know what time it is. I know what time it is. She's so sassy. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Don't you think I forgot? Mhm. She's a sweetheart. Yeah, she wants to show up for you, girly. She'll keep trying. Yeah, 27. Okay, so in a week. I love that. Yeah, now she's like so excited. I love that. All right. Next question. Thank you, ma'am. This person is a semester student. This is a spell work question. It says, I created a money spell using green rice and bay leaves. Awesome. Writing my desires on the leaves and placing them in a bottle. I would hold and shake the bottle while visualizing abundance over time. The bay leaves started breaking apart. Months later, I haven't seen results. Was using bay leaves a mistake? Okay. This is tea because I have to think about this for a second. Was using bay leaves a mistake? So your first question, was using bay leaves a mistake? No. I love bay leaves in abundance magic. Okay. No issue with bay leaves there. Like as far as a correspondence, I think that's perfectly aligned. Um, green rice and bay leaves. Yeah, rice is great. I like rice. I use rice in my money bowl a lot. Green, wonderful color to bring in for abundance energy. Love that. No issues ingredients wise. Um, I will hold and shake the bottle while visualizing abundance. Over time, the bay leaves started breaking apart. Okay, so we have mundane things happening, right? And we're wondering if there's energetic consequences. When I shake the bottle, the herbs in the bottle get broken up. Did I fuck up my spell by breaking up my herbs or using the wrong ones? No. So what I would do, um, the person that asked this question, yeah, you're a semester student. So what I would look at is when you did this spell work, I don't know if you documented because this was a while ago. Um, when did you do it? So first of all, when did you do it? What time, what day, what was the moon phase? If you know that stuff, that's going to be important. Even ballpark, like what sign the sun was in, that can help, okay? Um, any information like that that you have will help, including what you said, what your primary intention was, things like that. Other than like bringing in more money. If you know more specifically, that's great. Um, I would also ask you, what effects are you seeing? Because every spell will give you an effect, even if you think it doesn't work. There's something that you're seeing that you might not see as a result of your spell work, but it's showing up. So look at your energy every time you came to shake that bottle. Were you coming at that energy, at that bottle with an energy of work? God damn it, give me more fucking money. What you're programming it with is frustration and anger, right? You're demanding. The only opportunity a universe has for demand is to submit or resist. And it doesn't like submitting, right? It wants to co-create. So if you are shaking it and beating the energy into the bottle, maybe that's something to consider, right? And you might be doing that thinking, I'm putting energy into this bottle, I'm building up a lot of energy. Okay, but at what cost, right? What kind of energy is that? What kind of energy are you programming your bottle? Now, programming into your bottle. Bailey is breaking up. That is a mundane consequence of the shake. Is that a problem? No. I giggled when I read this question because one of our mods, I won't say their name, but one of our mods and I have a recurring joke about using bay leaves that don't have any chips out of them when we're doing spell work because our mind chatter will create the false belief that it's not going to manifest if part of the bay leaf is missing. It's a really cute way to like make yourself buy more supplies and find the perfect bay leaf and really avoid doing spell work, right? It's a really cute way to just have to like chase perfection instead of just doing it. When I hit those moments, did our ancestors like, oh, well, I only have 6 bay leaves, only 6, and 5 of the 6 I have, they're half a bay leaf. So I guess I better plant a new plant and hope that those bay leaves grow and hope that they're perfect because no, they were like, I'm working with the bay leaves that I got, right? It's the intention again, right? So if they broke up, is that a problem? No, and I wouldn't see it as a result of a failure. I'm putting this in air quotes in your spell work because A, we have a really, really explainable, mundane reason, and B, it has nothing to do with your spell work, right? You weren't breaking up your money and disseminating it in a family financial legacy plan, and the breaking up of your bay leaves could be, alluding to that. Nah, none of that. Okay. So I would hold and shake the bottle while visualizing abundance. Over time, they started breaking apart. So I would ask you again, what are you seeing? Like, review your own actions when you shake it, when you made it. What are you seeing now? And everybody hates this. We do abundance magic. Everybody hates this. So I will tell you. But go back 6 months in your finances, or at least when you started this spell. But I would say go 6 months back. And you want an exact dollar amount. Like I'm talking including cents of what has come out and what has gone into your bank account. If you have joint accounts, whatever, just pick an account that represents your money, whether that's y'all's money or your money, it doesn't matter. You need to know how much money you have access to, and you need to know how much money you spent in the last 6 months. Look at that because it is so easy for us to be like, oh my God, I have no money. And then you look and you spent 7 grand on Amazon in the last 6 months, and you're like, whoa. Or 5 grand on DoorDash, right? Which, like, no shade, no judgment. I have line items in my budget for both of those places. And I don't even love Amazon, but that's the life, right? So I want you to know exactly what you're working with because as you go through that financial audit, you will open your eyes to things that showed up, credits that showed up. I don't care if they're 30 cents. I don't care if they're the little interest credit that comes in at the end of your term in a bank account. Doesn't matter. I want you to pay attention to the every single debit and every single withdrawal, right? Did you get things that you weren't expecting? Did you get a refund that came out of nowhere? Things like that are important. You can't build something like wealth consciousness without first looking at the hard data. You have to look at the hard data. So I would start there. As far as spell work, once you know what you're working with and what has gone on, you can do another one. It doesn't mean this one failed. If you've given this enough time, usually I say like give it 3 months, give it, a solstice or an equinox, let it percolate, and then see if you need to adjust or go back to the drawing board. For this specific spell, girly, I would take all the data that you're going to have in the next little bit as you're collecting your numbers. Um, and I would look at the other pieces. Have you felt safe about your money? Have you had any instances of fraud? How organized is your wallet? How clutter-free is your house? All of those things are absolutely wealth consciousness, earth energy, things like that. Keep all of that data and write your new spell work out. We're actually, you know this because you're in semester, we're starting Foundations of Spell Work this week. We're starting it on Friday. So you're going to have a good idea of the first 3 components a spell needs in order to manifest in a couple of days. And so we can actually walk out an abundance spell if you'd like, as an example. But the biggest thing, I think, the biggest asset you're going to be able to give yourself going forward is all of that data. Grab that data, know what you're working with. Have you seen success? Have you seen, you know, people coming for your money, stuff like that. And then by the time you've gathered that data, you'll have more information about the spell work plan and you'll be able to map it out. And I can help you. Okay. So can our grads. We have a whole channel for it that you guys can't see yet. Somebody in our chat said, this is so true. Teal, I asked for 3,000 with my money. Oh yeah, there was a bug that ended up in a candle. So I didn't get the 3,000, but it was Wells Fargo giving 3,000 0% interest to pay off my Amazon card. Now I have 12 months of 0% interest. I didn't get the cash, but I got 3,000. Yeah, so you got a $3,000 credit line with 0% interest to pay off debt. Love that. Yeah, it might come in a way that we don't expect, right? So when you're looking at those $4.50 refunds from Amazon from your book that never made it to your front door, right? It's easy in a day-to-day to be like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, how many times do we scroll through our bank transactions on our phone? But when you actually take a second, you're like, oh my God, I had $14,281.12 in my bank account last month. That's what I pulled in. What? Like, you might be I mean, people way underestimate this, right? And you'll either be way over or way under, even for people who are really, really particular about their money. So, and we're coming into Virgo season. It's Earth abundance time, it's particular time, spreadsheet time. Totally love that. So yeah, work on that and we'll work the spell once you have more data. I'll help. I will personally walk you through it if you want. For sure. All right, let's see. Glass breaking, glass cracking. Twice now I have had glass crack or break Following a sound or smoke clearing with protections. Should I be concerned? I'm currently in a habit of water cleansing and setting intentions every evening. Any questions? Okay, any recommendations rather? I love this. Number one, I want to applaud you. Bravo for regular cleansing and protection. I'm so proud of you. Good job getting your routine set up. Freaking love that. Super proud of you. That's massively important, especially if you're having adverse situations. Um, Often, actually, glass breaking is an indication that your protections are working, not the opposite. This is one of those things Hollywood has like, made us believe that when a glass cracks, something nefarious or something wicked this way comes. Not always. Typically, it's energy hitting your barriers and shattering, right? That doesn't mean that your barrier was messed up. It means that it did its job, right? Like if someone tries to kick in your door, would you blame your door for having dents? No, you'd be excited that it didn't let them in the front door, right? That it did its job and you would replace the door. We just talked about circle casting. We just talked about protection, right? When you are, think about your bubble, like I told you, your aura, when you are envisioning your bubble and you are sensing and scanning your bubble in the morning, what is going on? What is on my bubble? Who's here? Who's around? That's the same thing as a glass, right? And so somebody, if they come in and they zing, they try to, I don't know, undercut you at your job, or you were really, really anxious. Your anxiety can fuck up your vibe too, right? Your own stuff. You can feel a tear or a shift or a leak or a shatter in your aura. And that's just because it's doing its job. It means that something hit it and it did its job. So I usually see glass breaking as a successful omen, right? That your clearing is working, your protection is working. It's not necessarily cause for concern unless there's other things going on. But because you said you're regular at cleansing, you're regular at protecting, and it's happening right after that, seems pretty legit. So I would do a salt barrier or ask your guides in addition. So like put a salt barrier and you can put it at your front door and say you know all glass stays whole and complete in this house. If you're tired of breaking glasses and you're like, God damn it, my china is gonna come next, right? Like put a salt line or ask your guides, make a sigil, use any sort of protective magic in addition to the ones that you're already doing and layer in the protection that your glass stays whole and complete if you're done. If it's breaking stuff that doesn't matter and you're like, more just watching and curious observance, then that's fine too. Like it might be confirmation that you need, but we also, you have glass breaking, so you get to decide how this is going to play out for you. But ultimately, I would, if you don't want more glass breaking, I would ask your guides, please help. You can even ask them, what's with the glass? Please stop letting the glass be broken. Like, let's find another way to protect something, right? Um, the easiest way to do that is by installing a different protection or an additional protection. The easiest one is a salt lane at your door, right? Everybody has salt, super quick and easy. And once you put it down, all glass in this house stays whole and complete. Cake. Okay. Easy peasy. If you need help or walking step by step more through that, message me in chat and Discord and we can do it. Okay. Let's move to the next one. Spell remains. How do you discard spell remnants after you find out it didn't work? For example, if you did a money jar and there are liquid stones, herbs, etc. inside, can you cleanse and reuse the stones? What do you do with the rest of it? Okay, so first of all, um, did she say it was a money spell or did I imagine that? No, she did. For example, if you did a money jar. Okay, if this is a theoretical example, cool. We're gonna run with it because money has been a topic today. So, money jars are unless they are causing adverse experiences, I usually don't undo them. Uh, unless they're causing adverse experiences or they are for a specific event, like a launch. I will often do a honey jar for a launch with a monetary goal for that launch. And when I hit that launch, because it has happened every time, I undo the spell and gratitude and et cetera, et cetera. I'll walk you through that. But those are the only times, or if I'm having adverse, if I did a money spell and I did it really ungrounded, and the day after I did it, there's instances of credit card fraud, or all of a sudden my wallet's missing, or I had 8 customers request refunds in 4 minutes, right? Like shit that just does not happen, right? Like that would be a situation where I'd be like, okay, something is not right with this. Go back and look at what, because like that's way too weird to have that be happening. So I would say, um, for a money spell, unless you're seeing adverse effects, or you did it for a specific event, like a quarter of the year, a goal, a launch, etc. I would leave it and just fortify it, right? So I would, instead of undoing it, I would fortify it, or I would add another spell on top of it. But that's not what you asked. You asked, how do you discard them after you find out it didn't work? We're going to take away the didn't work piece because I have thoughts about that. And this is a semester student, once you are in the fundamentals of spell work by the end of this week, you'll have a different idea of why things didn't work. So I'm gonna leave that part of this question for just a second. The other part of your question, how do you dispose of it? So number one, this is why we use ideally biodegradable ingredients, right? Earth-friendly ingredients. For crystals, for glass, for like if you have a glass jar, I don't have one next to me. Let's see. Yeah, if you have a glass jar or a spell jar, you can clean those out and smudge them. Um, Depending upon what's in it. For most jars, especially like non-malefic magic, non-baneful magic, you would be fine to dump the contents outside as long as they're biodegradable, earth-friendly. Bury them, return them to the earth. And give gratitude, and then go like mundanely clean your spell jar, like dish soap and rubbing alcohol, sterilize it, and then I would smudge it and cleanse it too, like cleanse all of your tools energetically as well. So put your hands over them, Reiki clear them, smoke clear them, Florida water on them if it's safe, etc., things like that. This is the same thing that I do when I bring like a tarot deck home, even if it's brand new and it's sealed and I know the person firsthand that manufactured it. Has happened. I will still bring it home and absolutely cleanse it first because we're bringing in something into our house, or we're re-bringing something into our house after it's served a purpose, right? So when you're bringing it back in after you've let it out, after you've let the contents out, you're going to want to re-cleanse it both mundanely and magically. For crystals, yeah, you're going to do the same thing. You want to make sure that if you're putting crystals in a jar with any kind of liquid, that they're not soluble. That means they're dissolvable. Like selenite, I have 2 huge chunks of selenite right here. Selenite is soluble. So if I put this in my tub and kept it agitating, this would dissolve in a matter of 12 hours. Like in fact, I have a selenite heart. If you rub it hard enough, it will dissolve under your fingers, right? So we got to be careful when we're adding crystals to jars that have liquids in them if we're planning on reusing them, because you might want to put selenite into a honey jar that's protective, knowing that it's going to disintegrate and you're going to keep that protective jar around for forever and ever and ever. Now it's selenite charged honey. Wahoo, right? But like if that's not your plan, um, you want to make sure that you're using crystals that don't dissolve and also that aren't friable, which means they break really easy. Things like celestite, like fluorite breaks really easily, things like that. So if you're using ones that are safe, you can cleanse them. And cleansing again depends on the kind of material, kind of mineral they are. I would not cleanse selenite in water or with Florida water, right? Because it's soluble. I would cleanse it in moonlight or sunlight or with smoke. So depending on the kind of crystal, you're going to cleanse it a specific way. But ultimately returning things to, as long as they're biodegradable, returning things to your yard, your land. If it's baneful, return, like I would put it in the ground off of your property. Like go to the park, go to wide open space in nature. If you don't have that close, a park is fine, a graveyard is fine. Bury it there. Don't bury baneful magic on your property. Um, Unless it's protective against baneful magic. That's what I would do. But yeah, put it in the earth, put it in the water, put it in a river. Um, If it's not biodegradable and it's not toxic for water systems, you can put it down the toilet. Like sometimes I'll have old incantation papers that I don't want to put in the trash because someone could find it, right? And I'm a little paranoid, so I'll flush those because it's just paper, but I don't want to, if it's soaked in oil or something, I don't want to put it in the earth. Does that make sense? That's what I would do. Um, and yeah, totally valid to reuse jars, totally valid to reuse crystals as long as you're using them responsibly and cleaning them responsibly. Yep. All right. Moving on. We've got about 15 minutes. We've got one, two, three, four more questions. This is going to be perfect. I don't know how we always have the perfect amount of questions, but we do. Okay, best methods for hair disposal, like after cleaning a brush. Oh my God. Okay, I love this. Ultimately burning it is the safest. But burning hair also freaking reeks, right? Like burning hair is gross. I don't know if y'all have ever like accidentally caught like bangs in a candle or a stray hair in your uh flat iron too long, right? Like that's we all know that smell. It's not a good smell. So burn it is my first method of action. If you don't like burning it or if you're like teal, I absolutely can't flush it. Absolutely put it down the toilet. 100%. Do not put it in the trash. Do not make a nest and keep it. That used to be a thing, actually. Like people used to keep their loved one's hair. Still, I mean, moms do that. They have like a lock of their, I don't have either of my kids' hair, but there's a lot of moms that will keep like a lock of their kids' hair from when they're a baby. Like keeping hair has been a practice for a really long time. And so keeping your own hair safe as a witch is really it's really important. You can also dissolve hair in vinegar. So if you don't want to put it down the toilet or if that is a eco thing for you, if you're like, oh, I'm gonna put it in the pipes. I don't want to flush hair. I'm gonna put it in the pipes. Put it in a jar of vinegar and just keep the jar of vinegar, keep adding your hair to it, and it'll dissolve. Now, the thing is, you need to keep that jar of vinegar safe like you would hair because it's going to have hair dissolving in it, right? Someone could still get it. So if that's what you want to do for eco-conscious reasons, that's fine. Um, but yeah, don't just throw it in the trash. Don't just throw it in the trash. Be especially careful with how you dispose of hair. For this reason, I don't tell people, like people who are working on my hair or like massage practitioners, people that are going to do anything with my body, chiropractors, things like that. What do you do? I'm a teacher. What do you teach? A lot of things. Intuition, right? Like I'm really not specific because I don't want them to know that I'm a witch and that they have their hands in my hair or on my body, right? Now, yes, am I hella protected? Absolutely. If they even thought about sending something, I would know. But why put myself in a situation where I have to be on guard and work harder, right? So especially like for the hairdresser, they don't need to know. I'm a teacher. What do you teach? Lots of stuff. That's yoga. That's it. Right? Don't worry about it. But yeah, burn it or flush it or dissolve it in vinegar. But if you're gonna do that, lock it up with the rest of your tag locks for sure. Next question. Spell success. The jar spells seem to have worked. The one that followed, I think it was a combo of both. What is typically done after a successful spell of any kind? I want to show thankfulness as well as make sure it will progress. Okay, good question. So, depending upon what the spell is, um, the progression might be like the next step or your next intention. So could be a continuance of this, like maybe you wanted a dude to connect with you and now you want a date, or you wanted a job interview and now you want the offer letter, right? Whatever. Or maybe it is a totally different thing. Now you got this and you sunk your teeth into that. You got $10,000. Maybe now we're planning a trip to Paris. I don't know. Like when you are at the point of completion, the most important thing right before you complete it is to document, right? I say this all the time. I told you guys you're going to tattoo it on your eyelids. So what are you saying about it that worked? Because if you put that with your spell, and the notes of what you did, the next time you do that spell, let's say it's the first one, you wanted a guy to reach out and now you want a date. The next time you want a guy to reach out, you can go look at that spell and go, okay, when I do this, here's the exact stuff I need to look for. And guess what's going to happen even faster next time? Those same things are going to come right into fruition because you're going to do the spell the same way and add anything that you needed to adjust, right? The fact that you're having success is awesome. We want to document that just like we would document anything else. And what that does, not only does that give you the literal paper trail, but it reinforces the gratitude. You are sitting there and steeping in, I saw this and I saw this and this happened and this happened. That's just curating that vibe, right? We love that. That's the same as going through your bank account and looking at all the deposits. Hell yeah, I made money. Hell yeah, I made money. Yes, I see that deposit. Yep. So we're building, I call this driftwood, right? It's little pieces of reminders that something bigger is out to sea. When we get little pieces of driftwood, it's little pieces of a ship, right? Or little pieces of big logs. They're reminding us of what is bigger and coming. So what's the driftwood that you are seeing show up in your world that's reminding you that this is a success? You want to make sure that you document that. Yeah, you got exactly what I asked for. Fuck yeah. We love that. That's amazing. So, show thankfulness as well as make sure it progresses. So this is an opportunity to not alive right after. Yeah. So you want the next thing. So I would say, thank you, whoever you called in, guides, deities, whoever you asked. Thank you, ancestors, for help. I see that you did this. I'm loving that you did this. Thank you for this and this and this and this. Just go down your list, right? Thank you for this. Really pump the gratitude into that. Now I am intending on blank. And that next intention, you can work this out as we do this on Friday, on our call. But that next intention, we can look at, what do you want? What's the thing that is like teasing the other side of it? That's like the flirtatious no, the denial, I don't want to give it to you. And what's the container that holds that whole thing? We'll map that out, and then you'll be able to map out the next iteration of this spell. But for gratitude, for what do we do when it's a success, document and live in that gratitude and tell your guides thank you, tell your team thank you. It's that same energy of the 3 R's, right? Respect, reciprocity, relationship. So thank you so much for helping me. I needed your help. Thank you. You can leave an offering. The gratitude is an offering in and of itself. Another way to give gratitude is to steward that really well. If you ask for 10K and you got 10K, what are you going to do with that 10K that shows your guides how much it meant to you, right? Are you going to go blow it even though you asked for it for college, right? Like, think about it, right? Another way that we give gratitude is by being in integrity with how we utilize what we receive and what we ask for. But yeah, I mean, ultimately document, give gratitude, and brainstorm your next iteration, because I would carry this high right into the next one. You're gonna need it, right? Hell yeah, girly. Congrats. Absolutely. Love that. We love spell success stories. Okay, charging water. Last question. Oh, no, not last question. We have a couple. I skipped. Servitor. How can I effectively communicate and establish a clear purpose for my servitor to ensure it aligns with my intentions? So, first thing here, this person, for context, is a council grad and is in semester, so they're well familiar with baneful magic. Otherwise, I would not be giving them this advice, just to give you guys the caveat. Communicating clearly with your servitor. How do you want to communicate and establish a clear purpose? So purpose comes first, right? Purpose comes first because we want to script the purpose before we create them. They're like a code, right? They're an employee. We don't hire an employee for a job that doesn't exist. So first we need to know the job. We need to know the purpose, right? We're creating them, or said, because you have taken foundations of spell work, what's your trigger from point one? What happened that made you need this servitor, right? What happened that made the servitor show up? Based on that information, you can get a lot of context about purpose. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you got a new job and it's in sales and you need a servitor to help you get qualified leads, right? I love hearing about servitors that do that. So purpose and communication. Well, first we have to define purpose. It's going to get you new leads. How is it going to do that? What are its limits around getting those leads? Can it talk to them? Can it influence your algorithm? Can it make people blow up your cell phone? Can it blow up your social media? Right? What are its limits? And what do you need to, knowing its limits, what do you need to do to program it, right? If you're catching, I'm going 142. So what's your intention? What kind of shit is it going to walk into when it's trying to do what you've asked it to do? And what do you need to have on hand, point to teach it, right? So those three spots will give you a lot of information about communication because you might communicate just by saying thank you, and they might communicate by sending you leads, right? Or my servitor that paces my property is an animal. I hear that animal's noise in my ear when he's communicating that there is a boundary threat. I hear him. It will wake me the fuck up out of a dead sleep. And I'm like, okay, I hear you. Instantly awake. That's how he alerts me. Right. So you can script this because I wanted an alarm, right? He protects my property. I wanted to make sure that if he's sensing somebody on my property, he's alarming. His alarm sounds like his animal noise. So I say that because you want the communication to be relevant to their purpose, their form, their job, their code of ethics, right? Um, it can also not be that simple, right? Like my property pacing servitor makes a simple noise. That is the extent of my communication from him, unless he needs something else. I'll be like, hey, we have dinner coming. And he might ask when or who is coming, right? Very specific low level communication because he doesn't need a lot of cognitive his job is threat not threat, threat not threat, threat not threat, right? He's caveman as far as cognitive level. And I'm not being mean, right? This is an entity, this is code. That's where he's designed. If I wanted him to be smarter and to critically think about things other than threat, not threat, threat. I would have programmed him that way, right? Now, contrast my bodyguard servitor. Wildly different. Okay. Wildly different. We have telepathic conversation all the time. He will flip on and on and off my lights. So for those of y'all that hear telepathic and you're like, okay, so she hears voices, he will turn on and off my lights in the middle of the night. I've asked him to do this. I should film this. I'll film it and put it in Haven because I thought I heard somebody downstairs the other night, and I was like, I said his name, my servitor's name, and I wasn't alerted from the peripheral perimeter servitor that there was a threat, right? So I didn't have any, but I just felt somebody downstairs, like human downstairs trying to get in my house. I was like, what the heck is that? So I wake up, I call my servitor by name, and I said, turn on the lights. And from my bedroom, I can see into my lower level, all the lights downstairs turn on. It was like I told my robot machine to do it, right? But my servitor did it. And then we have a conversation. Is there anything going on? And I just hear static. And so I'm like, I go through all the animals, and he goes through all the animals. This animal's fine. This animal's fine. Like, house is secure, go to bed, basically, right? So like I tell you that to tell you that they can be as cognitively simple and as communication simple as one word. Thank you, protect, invade, right? You also, when you're activating your servitor, when you're having your servitor activated, not your activation sequence, but when you are commissioning your servitor, when you are telling them they have a job to do, you can bake in a code word. So there is a code word that someone has to say to engage the backlash side of my protective servitor. He's really good at he's a bodyguard, right? He doesn't let shit get to me. But if someone tries to send bad vibes, he becomes an adversary and he will siphon and turn that shit right back at you and send it back, right? Someone has to say a very specific phrase for him to switch that, either me or them. And I have another phrase. The phrase that they have to say is coded into language. You would say it without even really thinking, so that if they're being an asshole and they say whatever, my servitor hears that and goes, "Oh no, bitch." Siphon, turn right back. I don't think so. And then he breathes on my neck to tell me, like, hey, I've got you. Chill, relax, get back into your body. Because he only shows up when shit's crazy, right? So I'm usually dysregulated, and I built in a space for him to be like, you need to calm down, okay? So I say that to tell you, like, just to give you examples. They can be as complicated and complex and brilliant and cognitively enhanced as you want, with the caveats that I told you in council, right? Do not let them create other servitors. They do not have free will. They do not have dominion over you or your house or your space or your body, right? Like, go through our week 4 best practices and make sure you've got those. But I know you're a smart witch, you're gonna be fine. Just brainstorm what you want her, it to be able to do, and then let that guide your communication, because you might not need a bunch from them. And if you go the opposite way, you might spend all this time iterating on how you want to talk to them, what you want to hear, and realize that you don't need to have an ongoing conversation anyway, right? The only time my truth-telling servitor that's attached to my jewelry buzzes my jewelry is when someone lies. I don't have consistent communication with her because I don't need it. She has a function and she tells me and I give her gratitude. And her function is only communicated by vibrating my ring. That's it. So it can be
Huh.
as specific as you want. Yep. 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 Um, let's see here. We have other ones. We have one more question and we have one more minute. Okay, charging water. Jessica, I will get you. Oh, I said your name. Oops. How to charge water with crystals and what types. Okay. So again, we kind of touched on this earlier. We don't want crystals that are soluble. So I would stick to quartz derivatives, honestly, if you're going to charge water with crystals. And I would, if you're going to charge water with crystals in it. Let me say that. If you're going to put crystals in your water, like crystal in the water, submerged in the water, only use quartz derivatives. Citrine, smoky quartz, amethyst, clear quartz, things like that. If you are going to uh if you don't want to use any of those, or you want to use what's called the indirect method of charging water with crystals, it's the same thing to put water or tea on a crystal. It will still charge. So I can get the energy of selenite in my tea in my bottle, right? Just by sitting on top of this. Or if this, let's see, what other crystals do I have over here? Do I have anything exciting? Not within arm's reach. Let's say this is a malachite, right? If I put malachite into water and directly and I drink it, I can cause myself kidney issues, right? Malachite can cause serious issues. It can also cause issues with your eyes. So I don't want to use direct charging. I don't want to put a malachite into the water. I'll put it next to it. And I will literally put it next to it, like on my altar plate. So altar plate meets water, and malachite would go right next to it on my little altar plate, and they would sit in charge. Okay, easy peasy. The safest way to do this is to do indirect no matter what, but I'll give you the caveat. Like there's actually a company called VitaJewel. It's not sponsored. Although if you guys want to reach out to me, I wouldn't be sad. VitaJewel has a pitcher that has like a glass enclosure in the middle of it that holds crystals inside of it. And they usually, when you order them, they come with a specific crystal mix inside of them. I don't think that they're customizable, but your water is indirectly charged around it in your water. Or yeah, in your bottle. So VITAJULE. I don't think it's spelled JEWEL. I don't think it's spelled actually like jewel, but I will find a link and I'll put it in Haven, or I'll put it on social so you guys can see it. Um, they're pretty cool. And I've never had one, but I've seen them. So, fun fact if you guys want to check that out. I put a clear quartz in water overnight and it turned chalky. The quartz did, or the water? Quartz. Okay, so did you clear the quartz before you put it in the water? They're writing back in chat. If
So-
the quartz, oh, go for it.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Did you clear the quartz before you put it in the water?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so that's good. So I would say, did you clear the water too, or just the quartz?
yeah,
Okay,
yes. It was
good, good.
water.
Bravo. Okay, great. So I would say that it probably mopped up something from the water, either energetically or if it was it tap water.
No, distilled
Okay.
bottle.
You girl, I could hug you. Yes. Okay. So yeah, I would say, I mean, I'm ruling out like, right, I'm ruling out calcification, I'm ruling out tap water, well water, right? You can see where my brain's going.
I
But I
was using to make moon water, and that's what
okay.
happened.
Yeah, so I honestly, it probably pulled something out of the water.
Mm,
I would cleanse and try it again. And if the same thing happens, switch out the piece of quartz. It may
okay.
be that the quartz has some sort of inclusion in it that makes it not exactly like a 7 on the Mohs scale. So the hardness is off, meaning it's more friable, it's more soluble. Something is coming out of it. We just don't know what it is.
Right.
I would try it again with the same quartz, same water, same thing, and see if it
Okay.
happens again. And if it
Mhm.
happens again, switch the piece of quartz out. If it happens again, we will troubleshoot because I don't know. I will ask Hagate. But yeah, I don't think it'll happen again. If it does, it may happen again. If it does switch the quartz, I would almost bet that it's the quartz that's either mopping something up or it's releasing something. I just can't see what way the energy was going.
Yeah, because it made the quartz crystal ugly. It
Yeah.
was like
Yeah.
ice, and then now it's all just yuck.
Yeah, like is so it's not like shiny.
No, it's like very chalk. Looks like it's been in chalk, like in powder. It just
Yeah.
stuck more.
Weird. Okay, so yeah, I would run it like just under running water. I don't know if you're somewhere, I mean, I know like geographically where you are, but I don't know if you have a river close. Running quartz and river water is a really good way to clear them if you happen to have it close. If you don't, run it under faucet water, that's fine. Or
Okay.
tap water. But yeah, if you're gonna charge it, distilled water is good. Love that. And that should negate any sort of like mineral mundane,
Hmm.
issue that would
Deposit.
happen. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, girly. All right, we have somebody in the chat that says, "What do I do with the candle for Saint Pancras? It is burned perfectly. I still have the fresh parsley in the water. It works immediately on Saturdays. Most generous makeup client gave $100 tip. I don't know if my question went through last night. Awesome. I did see your question. You actually put it in as a comment to another person's thread, so I told you to make it, but don't make the question because I'm going to answer it right now. It's fine. Um, for the candle, if you want to replace it, that's great. You can either, knowing who asked this question, you're crafty. If you want to do this, great. If you want to just go buy another one at the store, go do that. It's fine. Um, in that case, recycle the glass. Totally okay to throw the glass out. Totally okay to recycle the glass. If you wanted to clean the glass out and fill it with new wax and go that route and be crafty, cool. That's great too. But there's nothing wrong with throwing that glass away. Say thank you for it and or recycle it. Don't throw it away. Or reuse it, right? Put something else in it, make a new floating candle jar, make a money bowl. Yeah, you could do a lot with it. It's glass and you're a witch. I'm sure y'all have use for it. But yeah, don't be afraid to get a new candle. If it's working, that's awesome. Keep it going. I love that you did the fresh parsley. It looks beautiful and it's up high. I love that. St. Pancras, I love that picture. Like, girly, I love that St. Pancras has shown up so good for you. Like, I love that spell in our spell library so much, and it's great to hear that you've gotten some good tips out of it. Oh, cool. Found a church. San Pancracio. Nice. 3 minutes away so I can give a donation. That is awesome. White flowers. Yep, his favorite. Look at you knowing your correspondences. Look at you. Do you see yourself? Do you see yourself? This is somebody who's a council grad, you guys. Like, same Pancras, you know parsley, you've kept the spell going, you've seen spell work results, I know you and I know you've documented them, right? You are replacing an 8 hour novena candle, so it's obviously burned a lot because you're replacing it. And you know a church. You went to the effort to find a church close that resonates. It's literally San Pancracio 3 minutes from you, and you're gonna give a donation and buy white flake. This is the Haven Witch. These are the witches that come out of Haven. Yes, and thank you. You're making me look so good, girl. I'm so proud of you. You are crushing it. I'm so happy. I really took time to do the circle and call in the corners. Yeah, you took time and you built the structure. And now you are seeing the results of your spell work. Do you guys see this? She has been through council. She has been through foundations, fundamentals of spell work, and she knows the 9 steps needed to manifest the spell. So she wrote it out, she planned it out, and used resources and literally now gets to document how freaking awesome this is going over and over and over and over and over and over and over because she's a smart witch and because we love spell work that works. Garly, I could hug you. I'm so proud of you. Totally driving with joy to donate. Hell yeah. Somebody in the chat says I've been a student for 5 minutes and same worth it. You're the best. You guys are the best. It's your effort. It's your spell work. I get to be here and be a cheerleader and watch you succeed, and I get to take notes on your successes and wins. So I'm here for it. Thank you for sharing them with me. I love getting to be a witness. It's my favorite. All right, you guys, 11:11. We're gonna wrap Q&A up. Thank you for being here, y'all, and thank you for your questions. I love you. And if I have semester with you, I will see you Friday. And if I don't, then I will see you soon.